Long before the world knew the meaning of social media fame or political power, there lived a queen whose name would echo through history as a warning. Her name was Jezebel. Some people feared her. Others admired her strength. But in the end, everyone learned that power without goodness can lead to a terrible fall. The story begins in the northern kingdom of Israel, during a time when kings ruled with swords and commands, and the people often followed whatever their leaders chose. The king of Israel was a man named Ahab. He was not the strongest king, nor the wisest, but he held great authority. And one day, he married a woman from a distant land, a princess from Sidon. Her name was Jezebel. Jezebel was beautiful, confident, and very determined. She had grown up in a royal palace where her father worshipped a god called Baal. In her homeland, people bowed before statues and offered sacrifices to idols. That was the world she knew, and she believed strongly in it. When she came to Israel as queen, she did not leave her beliefs behind. Instead, she brought them with her. At first, the people of Israel were curious about their new queen. She spoke boldly. She walked with pride. She was not afraid to give orders, and she expected everyone to obey. But soon, her influence began to change the nation in ways that troubled those who loved the true God. Jezebel convinced King Ahab to build a great temple for Baal in the capital city of Samaria. The temple rose high above the streets, filled with shining decorations and tall pillars. Priests dressed in fine clothing stood inside, calling people to worship a God that could not speak, could not see, and could not save. Slowly, the people began to forget the God who had led their ancestors out of slavery in Egypt. They forgot the miracles, the promises, and the commandments. Instead, they followed the queen's example. They bowed to idols made of stone and wood. They listened to false prophets who told them what they wanted to hear. But not everyone agreed with Jezebel. There were still faithful men and women who loved God with all their hearts. Among them was a prophet named Elijah. Elijah was not a king or a soldier. He wore simple clothes and lived far from the palace. But he carried a powerful message, and he was not afraid to speak the truth, even to a queen. One day, Elijah stood before King Ahab and delivered a shocking warning. "As surely as the Lord lives," he said, his voice steady and strong, "there will be no rain in this land for years, until God says so." The word spread quickly across the kingdom. Farmers looked up at the sky with worry. Mothers filled their jars with water, wondering how long it would last. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The clouds stayed away, and the ground grew dry and cracked. The rivers shrank. Crops failed. Animals grew weak. Hunger began to creep into every home. But instead of turning back to God, Jezebel became angry. She blamed Elijah for the suffering. She ordered her soldiers to hunt down the prophets of the Lord. Many were captured. Many were killed. Fear spread across the land like a dark shadow. Yet Elijah remained hidden, protected by God. Years passed, and the drought continued. The people were tired and desperate. Finally, God told Elijah it was time to face the king again. Elijah walked boldly into the palace courtyard, dusty from travel but filled with courage. When King Ahab saw him, his face twisted with anger. "Is that you?" Ahab shouted, "you troublemaker of Israel?" Elijah did not step back. "I have not troubled Israel," he replied calmly. "You and your family have turned away from God. Now gather all the people, and bring the prophets of Baal to Mount Carmel. There we will see who the true God is." The challenge was set. Soon, a great crowd gathered on the mountain. The sun burned hot overhead. Hundreds of people stood watching, whispering with curiosity and fear. On one side stood Elijah, alone. On the other side stood hundreds of prophets of Baal, dressed in bright robes, confident in their power. Elijah stepped forward and spoke to the people. "How long will you go back and forth between two choices?" he asked. "If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, then follow him." The crowd fell silent. Elijah proposed a simple test. 2 altars would be built. Each side would place a sacrifice on the wood. But no one would light the fire. Instead, they would call on their God. The God who answered with fire would be the true God. The prophets of Baal went first. They shouted loudly. They danced around their altar. They called out again and again, begging their God to send fire. Morning passed. Noon arrived. The sun climbed higher, and sweat ran down their faces. Still, nothing happened. Elijah watched quietly. As the afternoon wore on, the prophets grew desperate. They cried louder. They jumped and spun. Some even cut themselves, hoping their God would hear their pain. But the sky remained silent. No voice answered. No fire came. Finally, Elijah stepped forward. He repaired the broken altar of the Lord. He placed the wood in order and laid the sacrifice on top. Then, to make the miracle even clearer, he asked the people to pour water over the altar, once, twice, 3 times. Until the trench around it filled with water. The crowd leaned closer. Elijah lifted his eyes to heaven and prayed a simple prayer. "O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God, and that I am your servant." In that very moment, fire fell from the sky. It roared down like lightning, burning the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench. Flames blazed so brightly that the people shielded their eyes. A gasp rose from the crowd. Then, one by one, they fell to their knees. "The Lord, He is God," they cried. "The Lord, He is God." It was a powerful victory for truth. Rain soon returned to the land, and the long drought finally ended. But when Jezebel heard what had happened, her heart hardened even more. Instead of admitting defeat, she became furious. She sent a message to Elijah, filled with threats and anger. "By this time tomorrow," she swore, "I will make your life like the lives of those prophets you destroyed." For the first time, Elijah felt afraid. He ran into the wilderness, tired and discouraged. Yet God did not abandon him. God spoke to Elijah in a gentle whisper, reminding him that he was not alone. There were still thousands of faithful people who had not bowed to idols. Hope was still alive. Meanwhile, Jezebel continued to rule beside King Ahab, using her power to control others and get whatever she wanted. One day, the king noticed a beautiful vineyard near the palace. It belonged to a man named Naboth. The land had been in Naboth's family for generations. It was more than property, it was part of his history, his identity, his blessing from God. Ahab offered to buy the vineyard. But Naboth refused. "I cannot give you the land of my ancestors," he said respectfully. The king returned to the palace angry and sulking. He lay on his bed, refusing to eat. When Jezebel saw him, she asked what was wrong. Ahab explained the situation, complaining like a child who had been denied a toy. Jezebel's eyes narrowed. "Are you not the king?" she said sharply. "Get up and eat. I will get you the vineyard." Her plan was cruel and dishonest. She wrote letters in the king's name and sealed them with his seal. She ordered the city leaders to accuse Naboth of a terrible crime. False witnesses came forward and told lies. The people believed them. Naboth was dragged outside the city and stoned to death. When Jezebel heard the news, she calmly told Ahab to go take possession of the vineyard. The innocent man was gone. And the land was now theirs. But God had seen everything. Nothing escapes his eyes. Soon, Elijah received another message from God. He was told to confront the king once more. Elijah found Ahab standing in the stolen vineyard, admiring the land that had cost an innocent man his life. When Ahab saw the prophet, his face darkened. "Have you found me, my enemy?" he asked. Elijah answered firmly, "I have found you, because you have sold yourself to do evil in the sight of the Lord." Then Elijah delivered a chilling prophecy. He declared that disaster would fall on Ahab's family. And he spoke directly about Jezebel. "The dogs will devour Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel," he said. Years later, the prophecy came true. A new leader named Jehu rose to power. He marched into the city of Jezreel to bring judgment against the wicked royal family. When Jezebel heard that he was coming, she dressed herself in royal clothing, painted her eyes, and arranged her hair. Then she stood at an upstairs window, looking down with pride. Even in her final moments, she refused to show fear. As Jehu entered the city, he looked up and shouted to the servant standing beside her, "Who is on my side?" 2 or 3 servants stepped forward. "Throw her down," he commanded. In a single moment, everything changed. They pushed Jezebel out of the window. She fell to the ground below. The proud queen who once controlled a nation lay silent in the dust. And so the story of Jezebel came to an end. Her life reminds us that power is not the greatest treasure in the world. Wealth fades. Thrones fall. Titles disappear. But character lasts forever. In the end, justice may seem slow, but it always comes. And the name Jezebel still echoes through history, not as a symbol of greatness, but as a warning that no matter how powerful someone becomes, goodness, truth, and righteousness will always stand stronger than pride.